Hello mathematicians. Today we are going to be converting fractions and decimals. Okay? We're going to start with converting decimals to fractions. To convert a decimal to a fraction, move the decimal point to the end. Okay? Count the number of spaces that it took to move it to the end. That is the number of zeros that you will have in the denominator. So, if I do that with number 1, 0.72, find the decimal and move it to the end. It's now at the end. How many spaces did I move it? Twice. So I have 72 on top. And how many zeros will I have in the bottom? 2. So I will have 100. Okay, so I put a 1 and then 2 zeros. Now, what can I do with 72 over 100? Simplify. I can divide them both by 2. 72 divided by 2 is 36. 100 divided by 2. 50. Can I simplify any more? Yes. Divide by 2 again. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 50 divided by 2, 25. So 0.72 is the same as 18 over 25. Move the decimal to the end. The number of spaces mean the number of zeros. So we moved it 2 spaces, so we had 100. Try this next one on your own. Move the decimal to the end. Put that many zeros in the bottom. Let's see how you did. How many spaces did you move the decimal this time? Once. And we got 8. I moved it 1 time, so how many zeros in the bottom? 1. So 10. If you moved it twice, you got 80 over 100. That would work as well. It would simplify to the same. What can you divide both these by? Divide them both by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4 fifths. Nice job. This next one has a whole number out front. So this is 2 and some piece left over. Okay? So I know my fraction is going to have a mixed number. It's going to have a 2 out front. So I am only really concerned with the 0.15 right now. And at the end, I'll put the whole 2 out front. So if I move the decimal to the end, once, twice, I have 15. And I move 2 spots, so how many zeros in the bottom? 2. Our whole number was out front. This is 2 whole pieces and a portion left over. 2 whole pieces and our portion is a fraction. What can I simplify by? Divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So 2 and 3 over 20. Okay. So if you have that whole number out front, your answer will be a mixed number. The next one is changing fractions to decimals. Okay. So if you have a fraction and you can rewrite it so it's over 10 or 100, do that. That's the shortcut method. Okay. However many zeros in the bottom is the number of spaces to move the decimal left. So for example, 3 over 10. There's 1 0, so I'm going to move the decimal 1 spot and get 0.3. If we had 25 over 100, how many zeros? 2, so I'm going to move the decimal once, twice to get 0.25. That's the shortcut method. It does not always work. If we cannot write it over 100, we must long divide. And to long divide, take that fraction, flip it sideways. So let's take a look at this. 7 and 9/20. Again, this is going to be 7 whole pieces and some leftover decimal. So the 7 we really don't have to do anything with. It's the whole part out front. I'm worried about that decimal, or this fraction. Can I get this to be over 100? Yes, this is the shortcut method. What can I multiply by? 5. What do I do on bottom? Must do on top. 2 zeros in the bottom, so I'm going to move the decimal once, twice, 0.45. Okay. If I can get it over 10 or 100, I got it over 100, 2 zeros, once, twice, 0.45. Go ahead, put these two pieces together, 7.45. 7 and 9/20 is the same as 7.45. That was the shortcut method. For number 2, we cannot make 8, 10, or 100 by multiplying. So what are we going to have to do with number 2? Right, we're going to have to flip it sideways and make it long divide. So I'm going to have to add a decimal 0 because 8 does not go into 5. But 8 will go into 50 how many times? 8 times 6, 48. How many left over? 2. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 20. 2 times, which is 16. How many left over? 4. Bring down another 0. 8 goes into 40. 5 times, which is 40. Okay. So 5/8 is the same as 0.625. So this time we had to flip it sideways and do long division because we could not make our bottom number 10 or 100. This next one, what do you notice about number 3? That whole number out front, this is going to be 8 point something. I'm worried about the fraction. Take the fraction. Can I get it over 10 or 100? No, so what are you going to have to do? Flip it sideways. Take a minute and solve this one on your own. Let's see how you did. 3 does not go into 1, so what did you have to add? Decimal, decimal, 0. 3 goes into 10. 3 times, which is 9. 1 left over. Bring down a 0. 3 goes into 10. 3 times, which is 9. 1 left over. Bring down a 0. 3 goes into 10. 3 times, which is 9. What is our pattern here? We keep getting the same thing over and over, 0.333. This is what we call a repeating decimal. Okay? This is a repeating decimal. It goes on forever in this pattern. A repeating decimal goes on forever in the same pattern. So this time the 3 was repeating. To do that, to write this, we're going to use bar notation. Okay? We're going to find what is repeating. What number repeats? The 3 repeats. So to write this out, we only write the part that repeats once, and we put a bar over it. This tells me that the 3 repeats forever. Okay. The 3 repeats forever. So our answer is 8.3 repeating. The decimal 3 repeats forever. Bar notation. If I had something such as 0.818181 and it went on forever, what part repeats? The 81. So bar notation, I wouldn't write all the 81s. I'd only write it once, and I would put a bar over the whole thing. Repeating decimal goes on forever. Use bar notation to write it. Nice job today, mathematicians.